Hi, my name is Caroline, and today I'm gonna be talking about case study at a job at East Coast Part 2. So, this case study is like retirement planning, diversification, and the power of, I think, smart portfolio construction. Let's put it that way. So, it is just about an employee at East Coast Yacht who meets with Sarah. Sarah is a financial representative from the Bishop Financial Service to evaluate the 401k investment options, for East Coast Yacht. So I believe despite a conservative investment profile, the employee, initially considers like investing entirely in East Coast Yacht stock, um, which I think is wrong. So, but let's move ahead and see what happens. So, um, looking at the scenario, I think it was driven by the confidence they have in management and their loyalty in the employer. So let's move ahead. So I believe I'm gonna put this into like core questions, like maybe temptation, like when we're talking about the temptation, maybe like investing all the 100% of the 401k is in East Coast Yacht stock. I think it's a high risk concept, and it has also a concentrated bet on maybe a single employer. I also look at Sarah's challenge addressing the critical role of diversification while navigating the employee's concern about maybe balancing and the risk and return. And also, I'll add a final goal, maybe to like explore asset allocations like the bonds and bond funds and stock funds, just to determine an optional strategy, um, maybe to minimize the variance whilst achieving maybe a financial goal. Usually, they want to be in business for a long time. So let's go. I'll be addressing four questions, and the first one is Sarah's response to putting all the 10% investment in East Coast Yacht stock alone. Um, I believe Sarah should go against putting all that 100% in stock alone, because it's good to spread it out, when like there's no risk. I mean, the risk is minimized when you spread it out, rather than putting in into like stock alone, so let's see. Yeah, so Sarah will point. I'm sure Sarah will going to advise and point out if the company is growing and they have, and like every company has a chance of maybe going up or ups and downs, maybe having issues with funds and financial issues along the way. So it happens. So it's a bad choice if they put all the 100% in the retirement savings. Why? If I want to open an account, or invest in bonds and stock, I'll just do both instead of just putting all 100% in one. So let's continue with the second question. It's about evaluating all the 100% investments in the best bond fund. Let's see about the limitations. Okay, so although the funds, um, bond funds usually move faster than stock funds, I think investing all your money there is not an option. Like like I talk about in the initial stage, so you have to be very careful, and then adding some stock to the bond portfolio can also increase um, um, returns and lower the risk, when you spread it out like that. So let's continue. So question 3, addresses portfolio with same standard deviation as the bond fund. So I think, like I said, you should have different options when it comes to that, because when from the calculation from the textbook, the correlation of the 0.15, I think it's just a way of combining all of them, the stock and the bonds, to have that reduced risk instead of putting everything together. So when you spread it out, it optimizes your portfolio. For instance, if you put like 70% in bonds, I'm just saying, like, and maybe 30% in maybe large cap stocks, you know the expected return will be higher, and the risk level will be, maybe it will be the same as a baseline, but at least, when you put 100%, you have higher risks. So let's go. Number 4, talking about minimal variance portfolio and its important. Why does it even matter? Like, why does it matter? We all know that minimum um, like a variance is a mix of assets, that produces the lowest possible risk for like investor or investment company. Yeah, so what it matters is that maybe it helps a conservative investor to achieve maximum, like stability, whilst maybe participating in like the same market. If you want to stay in the market for a long time and keep your investments like running, and keep and maximize it. So I think that's what matters about the variance portfolio. The importance of it, it sets the lowest risk level for any of the risk funds. It's has an efficient frontier, for any combinations stock. The starting points of the efficient frontier, knowing the mix helps you be careful, maybe once the investors of the most stability was maybe maintaining yourself in the market. So I'll say that just never go all in. The last slide, I would say that, a few takeaways from this analysis is that you never go in like all in one stock, because you have to be careful and to not lose your investment in case something goes wrong, because sometimes it's very hard to predict the future and what will happen. What else? Yeah, so East Coast Yacht stock. I divided the table. I made a table and divided into like 3 sections, dealing with the risk profile, the diversification, and the strategy suitability. So we have the stock and the bond fund only, and diversified portfolio. So with going in all with 100% risk will be very high and concentrated, and the strategy is not suitable at all. So for a bond only, the risk is very moderate, and no diversification, strategy suitability, not efficient. Nope. So diversify portfolio. That is it. Minimize variance. It optimized diversification, and it's also highly recommended. So yeah, so this is the end of the case study as East Coast Yachts part two. It was about planning, like a retirement plan, diversification, and power of smart portfolio construction. So this is what I think Sarah Brown will meet and discuss with Bless Your Financial Service all about. So overall, going in all at one is not good. So you spread the investment so that you can lower the risk. Thank you.